And welcome back
Welcome back,
to the Cafe Phobia podcast. I'm Dylan with
Caden.
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Caden.
Hey, Dylan.
Hey.
Hey.
Okay, what happened overnight? Why is it freezing cold this morning?
It's like like Florida. I walked outside expecting to be hot, sweaty.
No, I was like, okay, I looked at the weather. I'm like, okay, I'm going to need a jacket, right?
Mm.
And I walk out. I'm like, okay, why am I getting blown around by the wind and stuff?
Mm.
Like, that shit was
Bro, I got bangs. Like,
true.
you see whole ass forehead 24/7. Like,
True.
Why?
Do you consider that bangs and
I
stuff?
think so, because it's like, it hangs
hangs,
down,
yeah.
and it's like, I don't know, it blows with the wind. I got to be hitting like one of these when I'm walking around.
My shit's been going like everywhere.
Wow.
But I don't do my hair, so
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty normal anyways. But
No, I plan out my fits ahead of time in my head at night, and I'm like, that's gonna be hard tomorrow. I'd be saying exactly that, you know. And then I
Okay.
couldn't wear what I wanted to wear, so I was like, fuck.
What do you want to wear today?
Flogna jersey.
Okay.
Mhm.
Wait, which one is that?
It's like a baseball jersey. I don't be wearing it much.
Oh, is that the green?
Mhm.
No.
Blue and white, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow.
Have you worn it before?
Yeah, I just don't wear it very
Oh,
often.
okay. I probably don't remember.
No.
I just think of like that varsity jacket you usually wear, but that's not Blog now. That's
No.
Blackhampton.
Mhm,
Right? Yeah,
mhm.
Blackhampton.
Yeah.
They'll fire us out.
True statement.
If that's the episode coming out before this, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes. This is gonna be. We posted Milk Pod 2 episodes in the past.
I mean, we'd had no milk in here.
We have never had milk on
We've
the podcast.
never had milk.
We have never
in-
had milk on this podcast.
Dun, dun. Just skip that episode.
If you work for the library.
Yeah, if you look for the UCF library. I realize I'm like, I don't want to dox us, but I'm just wearing the UCF shirt, so fuck it.
I've also said Stardust Video and Coffee.
True.
You said Foxtail.
I mean, maybe we go to like Rollins College. I don't know.
Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't even know.
I don't know. But yeah, Brockhampton, I've been listening to more. And I need to listen to more Faye Webster and stuff.
Bye.
Like Faye Webster.
Bye. I've been tapping into Porter Robinson, Paris, Texas. Trying to think. New Jane Remover single is crazy.
Oh, really?
Mhm,
I didn't
mhm.
even know.
It's Fi.
I need to listen to that.
It's Fi.
It's
low-key
Fi?
Fi.
Are you trying out Fi?
It's always been in my vocabulary.
Okay, that's just Fi.
That shit Fi.
Or di. Is it Fi?
Vania
Or,
did.
is it Fi or di?
Fi, Vania did.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of veins, I guess. What were you gonna say?
I'm on like slow motion mode today a little bit,
Okay.
but that's a good transition to. I'm taking an anatomy class right now.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
There's some weird ass body part names,
Like the body parts like people don't really know about, like the underground ones. Or?
Yeah, like Loke.
Loke.
It's like, I don't know. There's one today where it's just like, yeah, no, this is like the recto vaginal something, like pouch or some shit, right?
Okay.
Right? But it's also called like Douglas's pouch. And just like, what the fuck is Douglas? He wanted his name on that shit so bad.
On the vaginal pouch? That's kind of weird.
I think it was like recto-vaginal.
Recto-vaginal.
No, recto-uterine pouch.
Oh, okay. What does it do?
Nothing. It's
Nothing?
just a pouch.
Oh,
it's
just
a
a pouch?
gap.
It's just like, oh, it's not even like, it
No.
has no function.
No, it's just there.
So the limit does not exist?
No.
Okay. Anyway,
I don't get the.
so Douglas found it and stuff?
I guess because he named it Douglas's pouch.
See, if I found something like that, I wouldn't want it to be named after me.
Hey, this is Caden's uterine pouch. What's up?
Unless it was like, okay, like Dylan Steely or something, or Dylan's Law, or, like, like those kind of things. I'm like, okay, that's kind of hood,
What's your law? What are you cooking?
My law? Is she bad? She bad.
Okay,
It's like, I.
you invented that, right?
Yeah. She bad,
1776, New York City.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
I'm about to start rapping.
I was about to say, am I like close to Hamilton at this time, or no? But if she bad, she bad. That's the real thing. And also, I'm gonna let you finish drinking that water. Damn, is this the milk episode complete? Like, He's gonna chug a
I was
whole
gonna be
water.
honest. I was just gonna chug it if you like weren't gonna start talking. But
Any
I'm
other
thirsty.
body part names?
I just remember Douglas.
Douglas.
There's like Cowper.
Kalpu?
Cowper.
What is that?
Just people put their like last names on a lot of shit. There's like
Yeah.
Stenson Stucked. There's like Cowper's pouch. It's
Lot
just like
How is there that many pouches in us?
there's a lot of pouches. Because any
Ugh.
pouch is like, or it's like a gap, you
Oh,
know, like
okay.
between two things. Everything got a goddamn name for no reason, you know.
Yeah, that's weird.
You got to know where there's something, and you gotta also know
No,
where
where
there's
there's
nothing.
nothing.
You know, it's like of course.
Interesting. I'm gonna just poke around the body real quick.
I'm about to drop
Oh well,
out.
I mean, are you gonna have to like look into any cadavers soon or no?
Maybe next semester potentially. We'll see. But I mean, I have to watch like cadaver videos and stuff all the time.
Ooh,
But
I wouldn't like that. I don't know. I don't like the.
grody shit doesn't freak me out. I'm just like, hey, that's there. You know,
True.
that's chill. Like really strange things will freak me out, like certain noises or certain like textures, like that, like sends a chill down my spine. You know.
Does
But-
whistle scare you?
Ah,
Yeah.
ah. No, like silk sheets or like, do you know those like 3D backpacks? Like where if
Mhm.
you turn like a different picture or something,
It's like Rick and Morty, but like Rick smoking a blunt, and then the
And
other
the-
side is like Morty like sipping lean, right?
Rick.
Well, that's one of it, but Morty's on the other one. Like,
exactly. No, like have you ever heard the sound of like those scratching again? Like that freaks me
I don't
the
like
fuck
that
out.
either,
That like
yeah.
freaks me the fuck out.
that shit's like ASMR. You know how like people get like tingles from ASMR? I
Mhm.
get it with that. Like that sound like really goes like whoa.
I get like a chill down my spine.
Yeah.
like, ugh.
I don't really like it. I don't know what is that. I mean, I don't know science, but what is that? You know?
Yeah, I
so
know.
weird.
Even like certain textures, I get that with like applesauce.
Oh, good.
I
My
think
bad. I'm not speaking to Mike.
You're good. You're good. I think I like threw up once whenever I like ate apples, just because the
good.
texture fucked with me. Like I like the taste, but that texture,
It's
like,
just so mushy. Yeah.
it's too mushy. It's too mush.
I mean, I like applesauce. This is like MD Foodie Boys and stuff. Shout out Denver.
Shout out,
Dude, they're so funny.
Yeah, I don't really like pepperoni on pizza. I kind of only fuck with cheese. You know?
It's weird to be like, okay, we're gonna make no hate on them, 'cause
no,
they're-
all love,
all love because
all
they're
love.
literally like 13 and stuff, and y'all like people in the comments need to chill. Okay, y'all
Mhm.
taking it too far, but it's weird to be like, okay, let's make a Foodie Boys like podcast, but like we don't even eat that much like
No.
different types of foods, you know. It's also like, what's better, a hot pocket or like pizza? And it's like, well, it's still pizza, yeah.
No, I saw this like it was like a breakdown of the MD Foodie Boys channel.
Nice.
You know, and they're like, in this episode they tried Feastables, and they really managed to like save the brand because MJ, I don't remember his name, found a hair in his Feastables and he quickly threw it away without anyone noticing, and that really
Wow.
saved the podcast because it would have been ruined if not. But I don't know. It's
It's like the talking talk
genius.
to
Mhm.
but for the MD Foodie Boys.
Of course, I think it's the same people.
Oh,
but,
it's the same
yeah.
people. Those guys are so funny, dude. It's like it's so dramatic and stuff.
It's
and
that
like,
serious.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, for some people, it is. Yeah. I don't know. Is that like connected to your AI generated content?
Oh,
or-
not even close. I just like I've realized that I consume so much AI content. Like it goes beyond even just like AI people talking or there's all like the obvious Minecraft parkour, like AI voice over it, whatever. AI like reading Reddit stories. That's all like base level. It gets to a point where it's just like this is like just not understandable in the slightest.
Like it's kind of that like I don't. You remember like late 2010s, right? Where it's like it's just like random like deep fried memes or whatever.
What's 9 plus 10?
21.
It was Uganda Knuckles, but
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah.
But
No,
it's like that kind of vibe too.
like we're bringing it back,
we're bringing it back.
but in a new, better way.
Well, yeah, because like AI, you can do like this is like the best part of AI. It's like you can do whatever with it.
Can I show you the shit I'm on?
Sure. Put it up to the mic.
I will. Oh, why is TikTok banned on a college campus? Fuck you. Fuck Trump. Happy Women's Day.
Is that today?
Mhm.
Oh, thank God.
Or it's Women's Month, right?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know.
Oh wait, the computer clip.
Oh, good save, good save.
We're just waiting for
Where'd it
Cadence.
go? Did the AI horses guy get banned?
I've been getting the Peter Griffin like I got radical feminist Peter Griffin last night.
There's a lot of different varieties now.
Yeah,
You know,
I've gotten like
it's
a
not 'cause a lot of
communist
them are
Peter.
racist.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's like there's some funny ones, and then there's a lot of racist ones, and I'm like,
You know what's like the most crazy thing? Racism against Indian people and just like South Asian people in general. It's like
It's
just,
so common.
It's so and it's like and it's like I don't even like it's just so like blatantly racist and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like it's so disgusting.
No,
like,
and I
no
go to
one
the comments
really
just like,
calls that.
funny, like hundreds of thousands of likes. It's
I'm
just
like,
like
yeah, that's
come on.
crazy to me. And I'm like, what? Like there's actually like so many people who think this. It's not even like really like Republican like people like you'd expect. It's mostly just like all over the place, you know?
Mhm.
And I'm like, the fuck? Like this shit's like it's so blatantly racist and stuff. And I think that's disgusting.
Mm.
And then I mean obviously while racism is disgusting, but you know, it just seems so normalized and it's like it's not even like you'll just like you just see people like do it and it's like no one's even saying anything about it. It's just
Mhm.
like yeah, whatever, you know.
Mm.
And it comes from minorities as well, you know, other minority groups,
Mm.
which I think is despicable. You know me, POC unity type shit.
type shit. I stand with you.
Thank you. But no, I like honestly like for me that's like the biggest part of like all these things is this like if you're a person of color and stuff, you stand in similar positions as other people of color, and that you have to like their struggle is your struggle as well.
Mhm.
That's my point. Anyways, the AI content. Did you find it? Or?
I couldn't, but I've been really into like, it's just this is an AI horse running, and then there's a bunch of gold coins falling in the background, and it's the same video over and over and over again, but with different horses.
2025蛇年来，祝你躺着都发财。
I
I'm
think
like-
I've seen that.
It's hard. It's really goddamn hard.
Is that
It's cool.
AI?
I think so, because it's the same thing every time, just with like a different horse or something.
Okay.
You know. I've been getting a lot of like cats playing guitar. You know, have you seen the American like Idol where it would just be like, you know, like some animal going up and it's like it's crying because it lost or because it won, and then
I've seen like the cat one get like all the X's on like what's it called? America's Got Talent.
yeah, that's
and
what I'm thinking.
stuff.
That
Like that kind of video. Yeah, I've been getting that.
no, I get a lot of those. It's just it's so much. I've briefly discussed Momo and Sasa Pet Universe.
Can't touch this.
you
Yeah.
know. And I sent you some. Do you get the feel now?
Not really, to be
No?
honest. But like I don't know if like it's so ridiculous that but I don't really find it like funny, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm. You see, it's like I don't find it funny on a surface level. I find it funny that I've consumed like hundreds of videos over like a year, you know, and I'm up to date on the lore. So now that I see it's like, oh, we've got funky. We've got fucking Chunky the dog, you know, and he's like, you know, he's a baker, and then he's just like making baked goods, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like there's not even any comedy in this. It's just this is my life. You know what's up?
Do you think those videos are like made for kids or just like to add to like brain rot in general?
They might be made for kids. You know, I never really like thought about that.
Like, cause like I'm trying to think, like Skibbity Toilet's obviously made for kids, you know,
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
But it just became like so like culturally
Mhm,
well known that it's like now everybody's like tapped
Yeah.
in, you know. But I feel like a lot of the like AI generated stuff, they're like, okay, we need to just like slap together like two animals singing, and then
Mhm.
like this will like resonate with like some kids on the internet.
This is gonna get
hopefully.
5-year-olds and Caden.
Well, I mean, I think it just leaks out to everybody at a certain point, not
Yeah.
just you, but yeah. Turn off every light in your house and shower challenge.
Have you tried the turn off every light in your house and shower challenge?
Well, I live with people, so I don't want to turn off every light.
Turn off every light. Fuck them. Fuck them. Or at least like,
Hey, can you turn off your light? Like knock on their door, like turn off.
hey.
Can you turn off your light, please?
It's crazy. I be having like the craziest thoughts whenever I do that. Like I did something the other day where I took a bath for the first time in a while.
Ooh,
You know,
I haven't done that in so long.
with no lights. No lights. And you know, I've got some music playing, but whenever I do stuff like that, I like to only play like 3 songs or something on loop. And they're not like, oh, happy go lucky songs or whatever. It's like, wow, I'm tweaking songs, you know? Like, have you heard CZ by McGee? CZ by McGee, put 'em up, put 'em up.
Maybe I don't know. I don't really like discern the song names and stuff, but
That's
like
fair.
I've listened to some. Yeah.
I just started getting into it recently. Holy shit. It's like I was playing that on loop while like walking around my house, like pitch black, can't see anything, you know, just like I'm deep in thought. And it's like, it's kind of refreshing because, you know, I don't get outside like that. So that's almost like what nature is to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like I was still picturing you like in your mom's house, but I realized like, oh, you're in the apartment. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I shouldn't be saying house. But,
Well, no, whatever. But like,
I mean, I was doing that too there.
yeah, true.
I was home alone.
But I was thinking, like, does your mom see this? But then I'm like, oh wait, it's just you there
Yeah.
now. So interesting.
Mhm.
You walk around, like you just walk around, like
Well, not really walk around. It's humna. You just kind of like sit in it and think, you know? It's like no lights. After you've gone no lights for like an hour, you're like deep in it, you know? It's kind of like sensory deprivation, like, you know?
yeah.
But like DIY.
I think that's great for you. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, like, I think it would be great for you, but I think you do it too much, and like now it's kind of
What?
concerning. I mean, like
What?
as a friend, like it's like hearing you say these things, I'm like, dude, you're not alright.
No. It's fun. It's like, I don't know. It's like a reset a little bit, you know? It's like,
That's good, but like,
Yeah.
how many resets do you need? Like,
a
are you
lot.
gonna-
But you know, it's like it's a stress cleanser. You know, it's like get all
you
my,
know, like
get
that's
all my
actually,
thoughts
you know
out.
what? That's self care. You know,
Thank
like
you.
other people have like like people just have different self care rituals. You know, so no,
Mine
I
has
get
to be turning every single light off
True.
and just chilling in the darkness. You know?
that's cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
I want to do something like along those lines, but like
Mhm.
meditation and stuff.
Mhm.
But like really look into like Buddhist types of meditation
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Just to explore it and see like how it can help me, you know, like with mindfulness. Because I think I really struggle with that. Like especially with being present. Like I know like people always say, oh, be present, but I'm like, I never understood. I'm like, what? I'm
Yeah.
always thinking about the future, you know?
Yeah.
Or the past or whatever.
No, I never really feel like super in the moment. Like I always feel like I'm kind of all over the place, and I don't know. It's like I've been curious about like that kind of thing too.
Yeah, me too. I think it's really interesting, and it's like I don't know. It's something about like my culture specifically that I haven't really tapped into because you know, well, I don't know if you know, but like Vietnam is Buddhist and it is Christianity, and then it is indigenous religion, and like my family is Christian, so I never really understood like the Buddhist aspects or like the indigenous like spirituality aspects. So I kind of want to tap into that more.
That's interesting. Like, how do you do that though? Is that just something you like? You have to. How do I say this? Are the things you want to get into very tied to religion, or is it more like, all right, I can watch a YouTube video on like, you know, how to meditate properly and like start implementing that in my everyday life?
I think it's both. I think it's like, okay, there's like really helpful like guides not really attached to religion,
Mhm.
like Buddhism and stuff, but also I do want to look into like Buddhism and then like indigenous Vietnamese belief, you know.
Okay, that's
Because I
pretty
do like there's this idea of like religious syncretism. I don't know if you've heard of it and
Mhm.
stuff. So it's basically the idea like when religions are like brought to a certain country already with like established religion, it like they start to merge with the new religion that usually has more power than it. So for instance, it's like Christianity is a result of like French colonization of
Mhm.
Vietnam, right? So like people adopt those ideas because most of the time out of fear of persecution, right?
Mhm.
But they still implement some of their indigenous beliefs into it and stuff. Like this is not like a very Christian thing at all, but my family, like on the anniversary of like like an ancestor's death and stuff, we all come together and then we pray the rosary, like most of it or like half of it or whatever, right? But that's not like, but we still have like, how do I expect, like, you know, like an offering, like not a table, but like we put it on like this little like outcut of the roof, you know, and then like there's like pictures and then there's like items and stuff, but it's all attached to Christianity. But that's not really a Christian practice at all, you know. And then with like indigenous beliefs, like separate, because Buddhism also came to, you know, it came from India to Vietnam as well. So it's like those competing religions, and then there's a third one that is not, you know, I have like literally next to no knowledge about, but like through reading I've learned about it. Especially the idea of like what we call in America is like drag queens and stuff like that, but I don't really know the name in Vietnamese, but it's like it's men who dress up as women and stuff. That's like very accepted and stuff. Like there's this practice when someone dies, right, in the middle of the night. Everybody from the community all comes out together and they start like partying and stuff to like celebrate the person who just died. And then a lot of the time they have those, I'm really saying the wrong words. It's not drag queens and stuff, but like, excuse me, I'm sorry. That's what I know. It's like drag queens come out and like they're a big part of the ceremony and stuff. I think that's really interesting and stuff, that they're so like, there's this like Christian aspect of Vietnam, there's this Buddhist aspect of Vietnam, and there's also the indigenous. And then a lot of indigenous cultures, like they, like, how do I say, like sexual diversity is very like prominent in it, and it's like nothing like to look past, and it's beautiful and stuff. So I want to explore that, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I always find it interesting how like enveloped you are in wanting to explore other religions and like, I don't know, just other religions, period. But when you aren't religious yourself, you know, it's like it's obviously very different for me, but like I've kind of figured out I'm not even like agnostic. I'm just kind of full atheist.
Okay.
And in my mind, like, you know, I don't know, like the more cultural aspects like that are interesting, but I really don't care about religion, learning about other religions. I don't know, it's just like not a super big interest for me. So I always think it's interesting how like, I guess devoted, I don't know, wrong word, but interested you are in it.
Like you don't expect that of me, or if like it's like something, like you don't expect it out of me because I'm not religious like right now. Almost like that, like, oh, like once you like, if you're not religious, would you not be interested in learning about other religions?
Kind of. It's like, I think it makes sense for the person you are, and you know, it's like you love to read, you love to explore a bunch of different cultures, and like, I don't know, just try to get to know as much about something as possible. But I don't know, it's just like comparison to me. It's like I don't really have the need to explore other religions, and it's like you even talked about how you've gone up and talked to like Mormons or like other religious groups and stuff. It's like that's something I would never have in my head, you know. I just think that's interesting.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it's so fascinating. I think learning about a lot of like the suppressed religions in like countries you have no knowledge about is that they really help with like learning about humans in general, right? Especially with like trans people and like gay, like I mean queer people, right? And stuff. A lot of cultures there's no gender binary as we think. Like everything we do is so like embedded in that gender binary. Like we only see people as male or female, or and most of the times just heterosexual, right, and stuff. But it's not like that's not like a universal law, you know. And I think like people should learn about it too, guys. Hey, like our system is not like what is the only system, and like that's like some universal truth. It's like it varies, you know. I think that's so important because you know people are like everybody's different, you know, like special snowflake or whatever, you know, is what the Trump commenters are gonna say. But like people are all different and stuff, and that's so important. And like with religion and stuff, I think it's like so interesting to be like I For me, it's not like feeling really like a special like connection with like a god or something. It's like feeling a special connection with myself and the earth, you know? Like I would like to, like I want to be a part of the earth, if that makes sense, rather than I'm connected to some god.
But you think you can still experience that through these like religious practices?
I think it's like, I mean, I don't know if I can. That's why I have to like try, you know, almost. Right?
But have you before? Or it's just more interest out of like, is it possible?
See, like, I guess, like, when you're younger and stuff, you accept Christianity, like, for my family, you know, they're very Catholic and stuff. So I kind of just accepted it when I was really younger and stuff, but I never really felt like a personal, like, relationship with God, you know? Like, I believed in, like, heaven and hell and stuff like that, but I never really felt like a connection with God, you know? So that's something, but, like, I'm realizing that, like, I don't know if I need that to, like, how to explain, like, reach a level of like serenity, right, of peacefulness. But I think that can, for me, I feel more attached to the earth and stuff and the people, and I think that, you know, there are other religions I haven't experienced that, like, that's more tied into it than Christianity, and I think that would be interesting to explore and learn about.
That is interesting. You know, whenever I think about like my experience with religion and stuff, like, I never had any kind of experience like that. And it was always just like, you know, I don't know. It's hard because my like memory of that time is very blurred, so I don't fully remember a lot of stuff. But like, I never had a super strong, meaningful experience. And you know, any attempt to like revisit that, any recent visit to church with my family, anything like that, hasn't given me any kind of feeling. And you know, I don't know. There's been like mild interest in other religions just from like reading about it, but I've never had a moment where I've experienced such a strong feeling like that. So in my head, those feelings are impossible to me, if that makes sense.
Okay, can you explain it again, just like one more time, just so I fully understand?
Yeah, I've never had a super close experience with God or Earth or felt super connected, even just kind of throughout my life, but especially not in a religious setting. I don't remember super yet well, but even whenever I was like younger, going to church, you know, it just didn't really make sense to me. It's just like, all right, this is a daycare, you know, that's how I viewed it. I never felt a strong connection to anything. I've never felt this higher power or, you know, something to be connected to. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, in my head, those kind of feelings are impossible to me.
Because you've never had it previous.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting as well. Like, you don't think you could like even like learn to like come to those feelings of realization, or like of in awe of like a higher power or like higher order of spirituality?
I feel like I'd be faking a part of myself if I did.
Okay.
Because the idea of, you know, no higher order, no higher power, whatever, it's so embedded in my head. And something that I've always kind of, I was gonna say believed in, but I guess not believed in. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'd have to have some dramatic change in character, dramatic change in who I am, in what I believe in. And I just don't really see something to that scale being possible for me. And I know tons of people happen for that. They become religious whenever they become older. So who knows? But
That's interesting. Yeah. I want to say something else then that's interesting, but like, you know, I'm just like, like, I feel like I don't need to say any, like, you know, when you explain something like that, I don't feel like I need to say something. I just need to listen to you.
type.
But, you know, it's a podcast, so we kind of have to speak, but whatever.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
Yeah, fuck these guys. But, hey,
The-
Blake, hey, Blake.
It's Blake. It's Blake viewing this like 11 times.
But yeah, I don't know. I like like in awe of like a higher spirituality I feel is like with the earth and stuff and looking at it and just like even in really the mundane parts of it. I'm just like that's what I'm in awe of a lot, and I love just being outside.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah, I know. I feel a very strong like animalistic connection, you know? I I don't know. I'm trying to think. I feel a very strong animalistic connection, not as much in nature. I often feel out of place or like I'm trying to force a feeling whenever I surround myself in nature and I'm trying to just like take it all in, you know? I think I'm very high wired, fast paced, you know, it's like I like music all the time. I like content on content on content. I struggle to just take everything in. And it's something that I'm like kind of working on and trying to enjoy just like the more simple things. But you know, whenever I do try to establish that connection, it feels very forced. I don't feel super close. You know, I'm more thinking about like, what am I going to do next? You know, it's like, how long am I going to be standing out here looking at this? I don't get that super close connection. But I know I do kind of feel like an inherent connection with like animals and um I don't know.
are they not nature though?
They are. But I mean, I'm saying more you go out on a hike, on a walk, something like that. That is I don't as much enjoy.
I'm talking about nature like as a whole. You know that
Mhm.
like to me that includes animals and
Mhm.
like plants.
Yeah, no, and I'm saying with like the more animalistic side, I get that. But with like the more nature as a whole, you know, I don't really get every aspect of it.
Okay.
Like we were talking about raccoon on the last podcast, so I was chilling and just like had a moment. You know, it's like, hey, what's up?
Oh, I don't remember.
No, I forgot my headphones.
Oh,
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. You saw a raccoon walking around
Mhm.
early morning.
I was
right?
like, hey, what's up?
Raccoons are funny,
Mm.
funny little guys.
Why they got hands?
to pick up like Dorito bags? I don't
Hey,
know.
what up?
But anyways, yeah. No, that's so interesting. I don't know. I think like there are very good things about being close with the earth, especially with like what we consume and stuff. Cause like, okay, like a caramel iced latte with oat milk is not found in the wild and stuff.
Mhm, mhm.
But you know, like I want to like with health reasons why also like a lot of like indigenous practices are so so good for you, and there's like alternative medicine, not just like not taking away from like the established like medicine we have right now and like how helpful that is and stuff like
Mm.
do your vaccines, like don't be stupid and stuff, like don't not get a vaccine. But
Didn't you say eat exclusively raw meat, raw bull testicles, and you're a big fan of the RFK plan, right?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, okay, so we're smart.
of course. I mean, why else would he be
Appointed by
Secretary,
Trump,
President of
yeah.
Health?
The dumbest guy just got a promotion. We're fucked. But no, like I think there's a lot of health benefits there also that I want to tap in, and also like a lot of it is the mental health part, like the mindfulness and stuff. Like that's such a big part of like mental health practices in general. It's just like mindfulness is so important, and also like drug related therapies they're important too. But I want to tap into the mindfulness part before I tap in like to the drug areas.
You see, I have a very different like perspective on that than other people. I've come to realize, and I think that you should take as many drugs as possible if it will not take as many drugs as possible, but you should
Take as many drugs as possible.
take as many drugs as possible, but you should do as much as you need to fulfill your best quality of life. And you don't really know that unless you try it. It's like I get the whole natural, like, nothing before you alter body chemistry, start trying all this different stuff that could mess with you. Like, I get that. But in my head, it's, if you're prescribed these medications, if there's a valid reason for why you might need them, then I think it's worth, exploring and trying it out. And if it improves your quality of life, I don't think there should be like, I'm not saying you have this or anything, but like, a societal shame or like this shouldn't be common. I feel like it should just be you take the steps you need to take. You have X issue. It's been persistent throughout your life. It's not really getting better. You take all these steps to try to improve it. I'm not saying medicine should be like the first solution every single time, but if these problems aren't going away, then it's like it's definitely worth it in my mind to explore medicine. And I don't think it's bad to be taking like these medications, these supplements, it's like they're interactions. But if you find like, everyone talks about the drug cocktail that works for them, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, I don't like got my point across exactly because I don't think I'm saying that. Like, I know like what your view and stuff, but I'm more under the belief that like drug therapies are important, right? And stuff, but there is also like some level of learning that we haven't really like looked into because it's not from like it's how we know mental health is from like a Western perspective and like their basis of learning. And like it's very good and stuff, but there is also some other aspects of like mental health that we haven't tapped into. And I think that is just as important. And like that's something I want to look into. And also, but of course, I believe that like drug therapies can really help people and stuff. But it is like, for me, I just feel wary about it and stuff because it is so like mind altering and it is so like, it doesn't work. Like it's like an individual by individual basis and stuff. And like, some things are just not going to work for some people.
Mhm.
And like, I think it's important to like broaden our understanding of mental health. Right?
How I understand it, this perspective I have on it is any medication has the potential to fuck you up, like really fuck you up, Any single one does. But the only thing with, these medications that affect your mental health is they have a tendency to show more on the emotional side. But every medication can do that too. It's just, less commonly displayed. So
Right. But it's like that's kind of like, I don't know, like I still believe that there is still more learning we have to do with mental health, right? But it's not like it can't just be attached to like developing better drugs,
Mhm.
There is like some aspect of it. And there is, I'm trying to get it out, but there is like another like branch of knowledge that is not as tapped into, right?
No. And I understand that, and I'm not saying like I completely agree there. I'm saying more, I view a lot of this like, you use the word weariness for yourself. I think this public weariness, this public, kind of distrust somewhat or scaredness of these like mental health medicines is largely rooted in, like, these aren't real problems. This is like something that, don't take super seriously, like depression isn't like chronic illness, whatever. These ideas that kind of translate, I don't think that you believe that,
No.
but I think that it starts to develop in, all right, I don't need a medication for this,
I don't know. Like, would you like understand why someone would be like willing to, get on like is it called psychotherapeutic drugs or
Something like
something
that.
like that? Like, would you understand why someone would be?
No, I
willing?
fully understand it. But in my mind, there's no harm in trying it. Because let's say there is harm, like any other medication, you just switch off. It's not life altering. I mean,
That's true. That's true. But it's like we had to take into consideration like the average person,
Mhm.
and stuff, and like the average person has trouble like accessing healthcare in general, right, and stuff. So, in your perspective, like, what like is it like, are those like easy decisions for people like that who can't really afford like mental health help like that?
No, but
So
the type of person I'm talking about has very easy access to this, and it's a decision: do I do this or do I not? Because I
But
know
that's
that's
not-
not available.
but
to
that's not like
everybody.
like not pretty much anybody, like a majority of people do struggle with healthcare accessibility.
Yeah, but should you have the decision? Is what I'm talking about. Should you have the decision? Yes, I can do this. Yes, I cannot. A lot of people can't, and a lot of people want to, and they can't. you know? But it is also like a public mindset as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just under the assumption that like these are not like easy decisions for people with like mental health,
Mhm.
right? Issues, right? Or problems, whatever.
Mhm.
Like these like the decision to go on drugs like these are like it's scary for a lot of people and like but also is it like accessible in general? You know? Like that's the thing. Like if we like how do I say this? Like, sorry, I'm thinking.
You're okay.
Like the average person, this is not an easy decision and it's not really accessible at all, right?
Mhm.
So like saying the idea is just like, oh, you just go on it and then you can get off it like whenever you want. It's like a lot of these people like, you know, they're gonna have to save up and like really try to like find something that works the first time, right? And then it is like, but for a lot of people, it's a search to find the right medication.
Mhm.
And then I'm not saying like don't like go away from like those drugs because they're very important and they do change people's lives, right? But there is also, I know you're not saying this also, but like there is also another branch of, you know, medicine and mental health that can be attached and it can be more accessible because it has to do with what we eat and like what we do, right?
Mhm.
And that's part of it, you know. And so like I mean, I think that's a real shame of like the healthcare like industry and stuff. It's that like the ability to go on and off drugs readily and like really figure out what's fine tuned to you is not accessible to everybody.
Mhm.
The majority of people are flat out. And it's people who suffer like I don't want to say suffer the most and stuff, but like there's a lot of like trauma and like conflicting problems within themselves are very low income people who have literally no access to it.
Mhm.
Right? But they can have like some level of access to light ways of eating and like even then, but you know, light ways of eating and being, right?
I completely agree with everything you just said. What I'm trying to say is, should you have the option, should you have the chance, should you be, you know, that like whatever percent of people that does have access to it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's like, I get it's a big decision, but I don't think that there should be like a big stigma or a big, like, you know, I don't know. I feel like it,
Is there a stigma though? I don't know. Like I feel like
yeah,
most
I definitely think so.
yeah. Like
I-
with like antidepressant drugs.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's like, I get weariness, right?
But
I-
isn't it the stereotype that every like white suburban mom is on like Xanax or something or like
Yes, kind of, but at the same time, you know, how do I say this? I'm gonna go back to the example of your weariness for it. You know, if a doctor prescribed you a medication because you're having stomach problems every single day,
yeah.
would you have that same weariness?
No.
You know, it's like you have this problem that doesn't go away.
No, I think like there's some level of like misunderstanding. Like I would take like, you know, antidepressant drugs if it was prescribed to me and I would try it out and I would search, you know, for the right one for me and like the right drug cocktail as you were saying. And then if that really helped me, I would keep on it, you know.
Mhm.
But like I realize I'm in the fortunate position where I do have that ability, right?
Mhm.
To like search and have that like a better understanding of myself by taking all these drugs, right? I'm trying to say like okay. I'm trying to say that like for people who are not in my position and people from like we have to take into account people from other cultures, right?
Mhm.
People who are non-white and stuff have a level of mistrust from medical people, which I think is very valid and
Mhm.
that's true because there's a lot of mistreatment even now and stuff. Like you read how many articles that like black patients are mistreated more so than white patients, right?
Yeah.
So I think there is a valid level of mistrust with medicine and then with the whole like how do I say like with the whole industry in general, right?
Mhm.
With healthcare and stuff like that. So I'm trying to say like yes, it is good for like me like to be able to find out, okay, is this drug gonna work for me and stuff? But I also think like the average person, that's not really like a super like available option for them. And there needs to be like like an extending of knowledge in our world that takes from other cultures, right? And even though I have the position to like really figure out like what drugs I would like take to be good for me, I think I would be interested also in exploring other realms of medicine, not completely negating like the psychotherapeutic drugs, right? But also like looking at that, because if that works also, then it's important, right? I think it's like a collection of finding like, excuse me. I think it's a collection of, okay, we have these drugs, and then it's also like learning about other ways of being off drugs. So it's like it's combined and stuff.
I don't think you understand what I'm saying here. It's like everything you're saying I agree with.
Okay.
But whenever you are recommended a drug by a doctor, like I'm just gonna use an example of weariness about an antidepressant.
Okay.
You know? That's just an example, whatever. Versus weariness about, I'll go back to the stomach medicine example, whatever.
Okay.
There's a lot more weariness over the antidepressant because it affects your emotions, right?
Yeah.
Whenever you get prescribed the antidepressant or the stomach medication, both assume you have access to health care. Maybe this is a one-off appointment. Maybe this happens every week, right? No matter what, you still have some level of healthcare. Antidepressants are way more expensive, have to keep up regularly. Let's assume you have to do this for this too, just for the sake of the argument, you know? Let's assume you have access. Let's assume you're in that very small percentage. You have you have hundreds of options whenever it comes to, you know, trying to fix your stomach. You can take supplements, you can change your diet, you can do all these things. But what if that doesn't make you feel better? You know, I think that people should also do talk therapy, should explore, you know, like core traumas and try to figure out why they're feeling the way they're feeling before they initially just get like prescribed a medication right away. I don't think that should be like the frame one, this is the answer. But whenever it comes to the point of medication, whenever it comes to the point where, wow, I need to see a doctor for this, in both cases, one medication has a lot of weariness, has a lot of fear, and one is, all right, this is the solution that the doctor prescribed for me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that they should be viewed in the same light.
And in the same light as they're both the same, like, because they're just both drugs, and that they have a reasonable amount of risk when you take them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't know. I think there should still be, like, I would take those medications, right, and stuff, but I think you should be wary about them, you know?
Yeah, but I think if you should be weary against a medication, you should apply that weariness across the board, you know?
I think that's important, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should do that and stuff with the, like, for instance, like an antidepressant and, like, stomach medicine. I think you should be wary about that with both.
But there's just such a public, you know, mistrust beyond the reasons, you know, of I can't afford this isn't accessible to me. And, you know, beyond all of that, there's a public distrust and negative view on mental health medication specifically compared to, you know, like, how common is the sentiment, you know, do you really need that? Or is this really going to help you? Do you need to be on all these medications for mental health? Is this a serious problem? You know, it's because it's relating to a non-palpable pain or a non...
It doesn't immediately show on the person, is what we're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, there is stigma against it for sure, and stuff. I'm like trying to separate from stigma versus like distrust with it. You know, like stigma is bad. Stigma, like against mental health and like what like the problems people face. It's like that's horrible and stuff. And then like, but I think there is a reasonable amount of wariness that needs to be had, right? Because you know, if we just not saying like, oh, do your own research and like come up with some bullshit like raw milk thing or whatever, right? It's important to not like, I don't know. It's just like, it's important not to be like, okay, I'm just going to take a drug for this and stuff like that. When it's like, maybe issues we need to attack more in our society is like preventing stuff like that, or like having like preventing illness and stuff, and then not preventing mental health, but there are steps you can take to live a more mindful life and like mentally healthy life.
Yeah. Again, I agree with you, but it's like
I'm not.
we're already there.
No,
I know.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm
I
just
know, I know.
presenting like a different.
It's just like, I agree that these steps are good, but what if you're already there? I just think it's interesting why we have this such opposed mindset whenever, I think they should just be on the same track. I don't know. I think that we should do more to support mental health, especially in schools, like early on, we get these like BS mental health education videos, and it's just horrible. Doesn't teach you anything. Ends up hurting more people, honestly. But
It needs to be in correlation with everything. It needs to not like. I was just thinking in my head of like people I know who've suffered with mental illness, right, and stuff like that. They can still take medications and stuff, but there's still some level of like suffering, right?
Mhm.
So there needs to be a branch out of, yes, these drugs are very helpful and stuff, but there's also like different methods and different like branches of knowledge that we haven't tapped into at all, and they can be as helpful, and then with both of them combined, it can be like, it can like help alleviate the person, right?
But do you have that same view if you're having that stomach issue?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm saying that's not like a common.
That's not
thought,
that's not a common thing.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, that's what I think, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's like so important, right?
Yeah.
It's the combination of all. It's not the negation of either or, right?
Mhm.
Right now, like in our healthcare system, there is a big negation of Eastern medicine and like different ways of being healthy.
Mhm.
We have such like a structured view of like what health is, right?
Mhm.
But that's not all that there is to know. It's the combination of everything, right?
Mhm.
That's my view, right? And stuff. That's why I think it's important to have like willingness, because it opens you up to other ways of thinking, right?
Mhm.
Not saying you shouldn't not take the stomach medicine. You should not take the antidepressants if you're prescribed it, right?
Mhm.
But have some level of awareness to be like, okay, this is not the only thing, right? And there's other steps, and there's probably great health professionals who are in the fields of like Eastern medicine and stuff, and they're trying to like combine the two, not just be like, okay, my way is the only way to do it. It's like everything about health to me is like, it's the collective knowledge, right? And you try to apply it wherever you go, right?
No, I understand that. It's just in my head, there's such a bigger wariness for one than the other.
I
you know?
agree.
Yeah. No, it's interesting trying to figure out why, emotion dysregulation or chronic depression, all these issues, they aren't viewed in the same light as other conditions. They don't have a palpable organ that they target or a specific mark on the body that you can see. So it's not a defined problem, even though it's a doctor telling you you have this, you have this, you have this, even if you had some chronic stomach issue that, wasn't visible to anyone else, I just think it's interesting that there's this lack of palpability to people.
I think it's because people are like almost scared of what like people who are emotionally like not within like a standard, right?
Mhm.
I think people are more scared of that than someone like if like they wouldn't view them as suffering as much if someone was suffering with a chronic illness, right? But to me, they're both chronic illnesses, right?
Mhm.
It's just like the people who are experiencing like chronically mental health problems and stuff. It's more apparent and it's scary because they are not like what we consider the standard, right? That's how I view like why there's such a stigma around it, right? And also there's a lack of like mental health training and like knowledge from like a young age, as you were saying, right? So like once we don't know something and like it's more visible like in like people's like everyday, like you don't really see like a chronic stomach problem, right?
Mm.
So it's like once that happens, then we just become scared of it and like refuse to challenge ourselves to learn about it. And that's why there's such a, to me, that's why there's such a stigma, right?
Yeah.
And then also there's a stigma from, like, I'm trying to branch it out, like, to other people culturally who are non-white. Like, there is a stigma against the healthcare industry because it has been an industry that hasn't helped you for your whole life and like all your, you know, past family members' lives.
Mm.
So like it's like it's very tricky and stuff because there's already such a stigma in with like already like white spaces, right?
Mhm.
And stuff. But it's like almost tenfold if you're non-white. It's that you already have that stigma against mental health if you grew up here, right?
Yeah.
Or you came here, right? But you also have that level of mistrust that would, you know, maybe it's so deep inside you don't even realize it, right? You can say, oh, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, you know, the healthcare industry in America is good. I know so many family members who haven't had a doctor's appointment since they got here, you know, when they get here, like the 80s and stuff like that. To them, they wouldn't say that, right? But there is that level of mistrust. And it's like, you have, like that's where I think, I think that's where it's important to, like, back to the religion thing. It's like to look to other, you know, other branches of knowledge and other ways of being, right? To help that. I'm not, I don't think we're arguing, but I know it seems like that, but I'm just like trying to you know, broaden the scope of what you're saying, right? Because I do agree with you and stuff that there is such a stigma against mental health and the drugs associated with it. But I'm also saying that, not the stigma part, but the willingness part. I think that's very important to have and stuff, but don't negate drugs in general. It's very confusing, I know.
No,
but
I get it.
Like, don't negate it, but like you have to be careful with it, right? And then, but you should still do it if it's like you're in a position where you can, and then it can help you a lot, right?
No, I completely understand what you're saying. It's just like even people don't have the wariness for the other side, is what I'm trying to say.
I think,
you know,
I think non-white people do though. I think non-white people mistrust because okay, I have some family members, right, that they grew up in Vietnam, right, and they had less access to vaccines, right, and if it did, it was really poorly done, right. So even when they come here though, they still have that level of mistrust. And then I have some family members who, you know, they don't get the COVID shots or anything when it was happening, right, and they don't get some vaccines. Isn't it you know, I'm trying to grab at the idea that these people have lived in the US, right, for over 40 years now, right? But that's still that level of mistrust within them, right?
Yeah. No, but I get that. I think if you're mistrustful of vaccines, you're never going to be trustful
Of antidepressants.
Yeah. But why are people not wary about those more naturalistic forms of medicine as well?
Those naturalistic forms of medicine? Because I
Yeah.
feel like it's indoctrinated into your whole way of being. It's that's how you, it's tied to spirituality a lot of times, you know, which I think is can be troublesome when you try to translate it to mass population, right? But people aren't wary of those ideas because it's not as it's not as medical, you know, in how it looks, you know. But there are a lot of the importance mindfulness stuff is already just part of the culture, you know, and stuff. For instance, Tai Chi and stuff, you know. I don't know too much about Tai Chi and stuff, but it is very important. It is an art form that includes a lot of stretching and movement and stuff. But it's also people do that from when they're young all the way to they're really old, you know, and it's just part of your culture. And for old people, a really big part of staying healthy is moving around and not sitting around all day, right? And then the foods they eat and stuff. A lot of the foods they eat is it's not super processed, you know, and stuff. And it's it's very a lot of it is oh, we'd be wow, that's it's vegan and stuff, you know, they didn't eat meat a whole week. And it's that's just their way of life, you know, because it's so that's healthy practices that are so ingrained. And then there's herbs and I don't know the names of it because I don't know Vietnamese and stuff like that. But there are herbs and things they eat and that are they look more like a fruit or vegetable rather than a pill, right? So they see it as more that's just natural. That's part of the herb. But the pill can, you know, help as well, you know. But I think those things are so important because those ideas where people feel I think okay. I think for your dissonance, I don't know, is that okay to call it?
Sure.
I think your dissonance and stuff is that when you see a pill or when you see like a syringe or where you see like the imagery of medicine, right? As your understanding, as someone who grew up in the US, that looks completely normal to you, right?
Mm.
And it feels like something you I don't know if this is an assumption, right? I think you view medicine as something that like you have a problem and then you fix it, not something that it's like a top down like, oh, we need to like it's a whole way of life, right? Of health. I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying like that's the assumption, right?
Mhm.
And then one more thing.
Mhm.
And it's like, but when people who are not white and who didn't grow up here, or even like people who grew up here and they're very poor and stuff, they see those things as like almost threats, right?
Mhm.
And that imagery scares them and stuff. So they would be more in tune to tapping into things that look more tangible and like look more like, you know, just like these gifts of the earth and stuff, and like the most like flowery language, whatever, right? That's how I see it and stuff.
Mm.
And I'm gonna keep rambling a little bit, sorry.
You're good.
But I feel like for me, you know, as someone and stuff, like I had the like I grew up here, right? And you know, live around pretty much all white people, right? And it's like I see medicine as like a pill wouldn't be as scary for me. Getting a vaccine is not scary for me. Like an operation is not scary for me and stuff. So I feel like I'm kind of at like the middle put where I'm like, okay, I know these things are good and completely fine. And then also but I'm lacking the knowledge of like what also can be good for you and what also you can do to like be a healthy person, right? It's not just like, it's as we were saying, it's the combination of everything, not the negation.
I think there's a big difference in what we're saying. I think we agree, but it's just being said weird. Like, I believe
I
in-
don't think it's weird.
No.
I think what we're saying is perfectly fine.
No,
and-
I think I'm just like explaining myself weird. Like, there's prevention and then there's treatment. You know,
Yeah.
I completely agree with everything you said. I think that there should be, you know, like healthier diets, you know, herbal medicine, even. Like, I think that should all be more common. But that's really all preventative. You know,
Mhm.
you don't turn to that whenever you have a chronic illness.
But some people do, though. Some
Yeah,
people,
but
and can that help and stuff?
no, it can, but is that gonna be, you know, the number one solution whenever you have a chronic illness? Like, for some people, yes, it will be, but
But we don't even know if it can be, though. Like that's like that's how I view it. Like we don't even know like what what we eat and like what we take from the earth can be helpful for us, right? When you're dealing with chronic illness. We do know drugs can work, right? And that's important and stuff, but we don't know like I'm not saying it's like I don't have the like scientific knowledge, so I apologize if like I'm getting like completely off basis of like what medicine can do, right? But for like why can't we, you know, look into that, right?
Mhm.
Why can't we be like, okay, maybe this isn't the only way we can treat this. Maybe there's another way that can treat this and it can be just as helpful, right?
but what you're saying right there is the disconnect for me. You know,
Because you view sorry, go on.
we have this medicine that this will work for, you know, 98% of people. Or, you know, you can make these changes. You can do these more naturalistic things, and they may or may not help you. You know, my perspective is why not just do that and then also take the medicine? That's going to be your highest chance of success. You know, I get turning to these more, you know, naturalistic ways. But at the end of the day, it's, you know, it's largely a maybe. And this medicine is also a maybe, but it's formulated exactly for the purpose of what your problem is. Whatever this is, it's usually not. You know, making these lifestyle changes, making these diet changes, they can help, but, you know, it's more helping the whole body, helping the person. It's not as much for helping X issue, you know? That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
There's whole body care and then there's specific targeted care.
Yes.
And I think whole body care is very important and should be focused on, but not when you have this big chronic issue, you know?
Okay. Like in my perspective and stuff, like if I was suffering from chronic illness, of course I'm gonna like go down the level of medicine that's like most familiar with me, right? Which would be like, I don't know, like the pill as like the image of it, right? Like that's important too, right? But it's I'm not trying to say like, oh, you don't take the pill and you don't do, you know, other ways of being other ways of healthcare, right? I think you do both of it and stuff. But also I think this is just like a hypothetical and stuff. But if you look more into like more Eastern ways of healthcare, right? If we can like somehow combine those together and stuff, where it is preventative and it also is like targeted body care, like that's not discrediting like all the Western science we have. Like it's very important, right? I think like, but those steps need to be taken, right? And to a point where we can find out. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. Like, it's dumb that we only view like healthcare, goddamn it, as like from one branch of knowledge, right? That's dumb. If you're not how can you be so like knowledgeable about something if you don't have other perspective, if you don't have other, you know, ways of doing things, right? That also, I talk a lot about like Eastern medicine because that's like what my culture is like familiar with. But that's also a lot with South American and with African and like even like European, you know, like Eastern European, not like Western European, like ways of being. Like there needs to like you need that like level of like branching out of knowledge to help you like come to the best possible version. Because if you don't have every perspective, how can you know? You know, I'm not saying like I think like the part of like your argument that like bothers me and stuff is that it's very like it's very like dogmatic, right? And it's like, okay, I'm sick or like I have an issue, I take pill, right? Or something like that. And in reality, I think the majority of people, that's not like that, like you couldn't even force them to do that and stuff, right? Because there's so much fear with them inside them, and there's so much stigma they have inside of them, right? So much mistrust. So like, I think from your very specific like perspective, right? It feels like, okay, I have issue. I trust, like I will be able to solve it with, you know, the already established ways of medicine, right? Myself too. That's how I would be. If I had an issue and stuff, I'm going to the doctor, you know, and like I'm not like consulting like an Eastern medicine specialist. Like I'm going to the doctor and they either prescribe me or something, or I get something like a procedure done, right? That's very good. And like I'm so grateful that I have access to healthcare, and I'm so like, I guess I'm so like fortunate that I have healthcare. And then also I didn't really like my mom and dad specifically, not my extended family, right? They don't have a mistrust with healthcare like the other family members do, right? So I'm glad they were able to like instill those ideas of me, like, hey, the doctor is very important and what they can do for you is very important, right? But I'm just talking, like when I say like people, I mean like Americans and stuff. Americans are a country of immigrants and they will always be one, right? And like, you know what, the largest group of the largest ethnic group like that is going to immigrate to America in like the coming years, it's Asian people, right? So they come with a sense of knowledge, but they also come with that mistrust. To me, they are just as much American as, you know, any white person, right? Or someone like who has like that cultural knowledge as I do, and I was so fortunate to grow up with, right? It's important to not just be like, well, why aren't you just like, you know, why aren't you just doing this? It's like, it's already established and it works and stuff like that. I think it's so understandable why people have that stigma, which I know you agree with and stuff. Like, I'm not saying you don't agree with that, right? And stuff. But I think it's very like, we start getting like tricky when we realize those ideas that are present in our culture, right? And we think about like, oh, how there's already established systems in place that are going to work, right? But it's like, it's not like that way of thinking is not translatable to a country full of immigrants with different perspectives and stuff. And I think there's a lot of that's really unfortunate about how just our country is in general, right? Our country, when you think of Americans, you think of white people. And then when you think of Americans like me, you say Asian American. What's the difference between me and an American white person? There's no difference. We both grew up here. We're both born here. I'm a citizen as much as they are, right? So there's already that like level of like separation between ideas, right? And the white way of like medicine and like of being an American and stuff, that's not accessible to a country full of immigrants and who are only gonna be more immigrant-based populations, right? So I think like we can't just be like, oh, why don't you like not like I know I'm diluting your argument a lot, and I know you agree with what I'm saying and stuff, but like I feel like why is there like a mistrust to like want to engage in Western medicine? I think it's very valid and stuff, and that we need to like be like, well, why don't you just take it? And instead being like, okay, what's a process that will like help you, someone from like a different culture, but also like show you that there is a level of trust with Western medicine, which I think is very important. And I'm not discrediting it at all because I think people should do that, right? It's just like we can't just be like, oh, why is there a level, like, you know, why wouldn't you just do that, right? And like, sorry, one more thing, like the economic like struggles of it all, like just being like, oh, why don't you do that procedure? It's gonna like a lot of people are just gonna leave them in debt for the rest of their lives and stuff. And it's like that's also another fear. Like people would put off healthcare at the expense of their livelihood. Of course they would. Of course they would. Either way they're fucked, you know. Sorry. Not like sorry, but like, you know, just like I was talking a long time.
You're good. I think what's kind of happening here is like we're both talking under a lot of circumstances. For me, this person, you know, has every single thing available to them. They have no mistrust of the government. And for you, you're trying to factor in every possible reason why they might mistrust, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, my more reasoning, like, I'm more interested in why even it's become a trend in white, wealthy America.
Yeah, it's like MAGA Republican America.
To turn to preventative medicine for treatment, you know, to turn to a lot of these more Eastern ideas for treatment of a specific chronic illness. You know, that's what I'm trying to say.
Kind of. I don't really
Not Eastern.
I don't
but,
think
you know,
Eastern is the right word.
but more preventative.
I think that's good and stuff.
I
But
don't
they
think so. I think that's actually very dangerous.
No. I'm saying I think it's good, like the level of reasoning behind it, right? But a lot of those people go down weird fucking rabbit holes of like preventative healthcare, and it's like shit that just doesn't work, and it's actively harming them more, right?
And again,
not
like,
getting vaccines.
I agree. That's a circumstance, right? But people are turning to preventative healthcare for treatment. Preventing the disease. But you already have it. You already have this condition. You know, why is there such a big weariness, excluding all the reasons why you might mistrust medicine as a whole, which is a big exclusion, which is a big circumstance, right? Why is there this weariness automatically? You know, why do you turn to change your diet, change, you know, your exercise routine, change these things, which can have effect on emotion, but why is there a weariness for this medicine that's sitting right there?
But don't you think that's like, sorry, we're almost out of time, but don't you think that's one of the most interesting aspects of like I guess MAGA and stuff, is that they have such a distrust with the government, even though they occupy a majority of the government, right? Isn't that so, that's so interesting, but I think like, not what they're doing, obviously, but they're like, the ideas of like, diseases are preventable, like you need to take preventative measures to them, right? You need to change your diet and lifestyle, right? I think that's a great way of thinking and stuff like that. Like I think like a big failure with government in total is that healthcare is not accessible, right? But a big failure of like Democrats and like liberals and stuff is that they don't really take into account those ideas, right? A lot of them are just like, they have such a trust in like, in science, right? But science is not just what they're talking about. Science is so much more, right? I think that's like, that idea that is pervading like the majority of Americans, right? Or like crazy MAGA people, like, sorry, crazy MAGA people in the audience.
all of our
I think
viewers.
those ways of thinking are important and stuff. And I think it's like, I think it's good that there's a majority of people who have distrust in the government because obviously it's not working for people, right? They're going down a little kooky route, okay? I agree. MAGA people fucking, like, what they think is crazy is that they don't think, like, the moon landing happened, right? But, like, that way of thinking, like, that's an important way, like, that's an important thought process people should have, right? And I think that's why you find a lot of minority groups voting for Trump and stuff is because they hold those same levels of mistrust with the government, right? And they think Trump is gonna save it, but whatever, he's not. He's making it worse. But that's important, you know. I think like you should take preventative steps to like not taking like fucking horse tranquilizer like Joe Rogan, but like preventative steps are important to healthcare.
And I agree, but there's prevention and there's treatment. And the problem today, in my opinion, is that people are doing preventive steps for treatment. They aren't doing prevention from the beginning. They aren't implementing all these ideas just in their everyday life, you know?
Yeah.
They're doing it whenever they get a problem. And they're doing it to solve a problem.
Yeah, no, that's not good.
Yeah, that's horrible, you know? And it's especially with mental illnesses now that they're saying, change your diet, change your exercise, change this. And most of the time, that's not going to fix the issue because that's preventive treatment.
Yes, but I think like what we're getting at is that everything's in association with everything else, right? That you should like once you like I think in their perspective they think okay, like doing all these preventative measures when I have the thing will fix me, but it's not, right?
Yeah.
But it's still good that they're doing those things, right? But they need to add it with mental health treatment, and that can be drugs and you know what we talked about already, like mental health knowledge in general, right? They're like. I agree and stuff like that, but I like I understand their wariness and stuff, right? I understand that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just whenever okay, this is an ideal person. Let me make that clear.
Okay.
But for the example, ideal person, they have every option available to them. They have no mistrust of medicine.
Wouldn't it be better to talk about the average person though?
But, you know,
The average
You
white
have to-
person in America.
you have to function under these like assumptions to get to a certain point, you know? It's like obviously we need to work to making people more comfortable. Obviously we need to like make sure people have these foundations of prevention and including other forms of medicine. Whenever we get there though, what do we have to do?
We had to stop. I think we had to start from the bottom down rather than top down, right? I don't think we start with the ideal person. We start with the people who are lowest in our society, right?
Yeah, but whenever I'm talking about these issues, these are like current issues at the very top. If we're talking about mental health medicine, we can't really do that for the lowest, you know, economic group right now.
Why not?
We should. That should be funded, but it's not.
I know,
These
but I'm just
mental
like that's
health
why I'm
medicine-
saying like this is like I'm future looking in this conversation, right?
I'm in the present looking though.
Okay.
You know, these medicines aren't affordable for everybody. Psychiatric care especially isn't affordable for everybody.
Yeah, no.
So this is the problem. You know, we should be looking at these problems, but this is the current problem that's going on.
But maybe we've already been doing already looking at the current problem, right? What if we looked past that and look to what we can do to change it as a whole, right? As the whole healthcare industry as a whole.
Yes, I agree we should do that. But, you know, whenever we're getting into all of these assumptions about the person, they trust this, they don't trust this, whatever. It's like, this is an active problem going on right now. This is a large idea in the mental health sphere.
Yes, but even then, we're still just serving, not wealthy white people. But when we talk like that, we only serve people who have access to it, and
yes,
that's,
but these are the people who are getting the medications. You know.
I know that, but that's not what it needs to be a multicultural perspective, right?
I don't think that needs to be a multicultural perspective.
Okay.
If only one group of people is currently getting it. I agree that all these people should be getting it, but if this group of people who are the only people getting it, that should be the focus whenever we're talking about that branch of medicine. It should be expanded.
I think that's then you just become complacent and stuff, right?
No, I agree that there needs to be more work done into expanding it. But whenever we are talking about, hey, there's this problem in this group of people currently, let's talk about that group of people. Let's not expand it to all these other
Agree,
people.
but cannot the lowest people in our society cannot what learning about them help the people who have access to healthcare?
It can.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think that's like if we just focus on one group of people, right? We have to go soon. I think if we just focus on one group of people like that, right? To help them, you have to learn about other people in general and stuff, right?
Mhm.
So like I think like it's not you shouldn't just focus on them. You have to focus on everybody.
But I think where we keep like getting split up is that your initial starting point is the average person, not the person that's currently struggling with the problem.
No, but those average people are still struggling with a problem.
Yeah, but they don't have access to the medication.
Exactly. That's why learning about them is so important.
But I'm talking about this is a problem in this group of people who have the medication currently, you know?
Yeah.
And you're talking about this average group of people who should have access to it, but don't, you know? So whenever it comes to a problem in the group of people who have access to the medication, I feel like the people who do have it should be focused on.
I agree. But
you know, like
You
this
should
conversation,
you have to
you've like constantly brought up. What if they don't trust? What if they
again,
don't have access?
no, that's
you
what I
know?
was getting to and stuff. Like you should, but I think like that's important, right? But that includes everybody as well. It can't just be them, right?
And again, I completely agree. These people should have access to it, but these are the people that do right now.
But that's why you need to have those conversations with those people, right? Or like between like healthcare professionals, right?
Yeah, and it should be expanded to more. That group should be so much bigger. But right now it's not. You know? So whenever
So how do you expand it? By only talking about them? Or only like finding like exploring like the stigmas against, mental health drugs?
I see it as two different issues. I see we have this problem.
But it's a people issue at the end of the day, right? So like why like when you like your ideal person like has like a very like level-headed like association with medicine, right? And mental health like in general and stuff, right? That's why I feel like that's why we're lacking knowledge and stuff is because we only really focus on these types of people, right?
I don't know. I kind of disagree. I see it as we have all these societal issues that we need to fix. We need to fix them. But this is a issue in this contained group of people, and all of these different components are leading to why people can't enter that group, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't mean we shouldn't just focus on that contained group, Like that group of people, they have access to the medication, but they are scared of it. Why are this group of people scared of it? There's all these societal reasons why these people can't enter that group that we need to fix. But I think that we should focus on the group that currently has it, currently distrusts it, has access to it, before we start getting into why can't people enter it. Or these problems should be worked on at the same time, but they should be separate.
I think, but it's still just a human issue, though. Right? If it like what you're
But
saying
what's
is
not a human issue.
no. Okay,
Okay, wait,
That was
we really got to wrap it.
okay.
It's
That was a little off track, but I'm trying to say, right? It's that I'm like future outlooking where everything is like in association with other, and we have this grand like wealth of knowledge about every type of mental health, healthcare practices, right? That's not something that's gonna happen in my lifetime. That's not something that's gonna happen in like even my child's lifetime, right? It's a process and stuff, right? So, but there needs to be a starting point, right? And like there are people doing that right now and stuff, but it's so small and like that's why I'm trying to bring out the idea is that like you who might be a healthcare professional, I don't know.
who the fuck knows?
Who the fuck knows? Like you who might be a
Singer,
healthcare
doctor, professional.
exactly. Who might be a professional. It's important that you like I'm bringing these ideas to you because I want you to like bring that multi like cultural perspective to your work, right? And stuff. Even if you're not like a mental health professional, right? You still have to like take into account other perspectives when you're like a surgeon or stuff like that. Or like when you're just a general care doctor, right?
And whenever someone comes into my office, hypothetically,
Yeah.
and they have that mistrust and they don't have that availability, I'm gonna understand that, and I'm gonna take all those things into consideration.
But are you though?
Yes, I am. But when someone comes in and they have the availability,
That's what you
they
know
have the
though. That you
access.
already what you're talking about is like the expansion of knowledge for people who have access to it, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the point that like, but you said like we should just focus on not discarding the other parts, of like it should be happening simultaneously, right?
Mhm.
But like that's the problem though. Like it's that we don't like we just stay like contained in these sections of thought, right? When like you know how to deal with. Sorry, we have to go. You would know how to deal with a white patient who comes in there with healthcare and who has a general like sense of ease with your practice, right?
Mhm.
You would know how to handle a patient. How do you talk to a patient you have no cultural knowledge of, right? And how has like maybe this is the first time getting healthcare because they just got a new job or whatever like that. How would you talk with that if you don't try to like do research in accordance with them in like your specialized field, right? Not just mental health, but this extends to every like facet of healthcare, right?
But you also just said that wealth of knowledge is never going to happen in our lifetime.
Yes, but you
you
have to
know
have
what could happen in our lifetime? A change in the view of like mental health.
Yes, but like you have to like start doing that though.
Yeah, no, it should be starting and it should be happening simultaneously. But what could happen in our lifetime is that we change the view on mental health medications. What couldn't happen is that every single person is going to be open to changing these societal problems.
But
And
you
it
have,
should
but
be.
you have to be as a healthcare professional. You have, like
Yeah,
in
you
my opinion,
should
you
have
should
to
have to
be.
be.
Yeah, you should have to be. And you should have to be for this too, right? But one could happen in our lifetime and one won't. Both
That's
need
like
to start.
But that's like okay. That's the issue though. We have to leave. But
Yeah.
that's a central issue though. Is that like we don't think it can happen. I that's what I said. Okay, that's what I said, right? But you have to take steps and you have to try,
Yes, but what I'm doing is in this very like out there example, I'm compartmentalizing, right? This is an issue that can happen in our lifetime. This is one that's going to take several lifetimes to fix, and it takes a lot of steps too. We need to work on both. But I'm just trying to focus on this one issue that could be changed in our lifetime, could be worked on. I'm trying to think of that hypothetical.
Okay.
It's in reality, it's a much broader world, and we're not going to get everyone into that one hypothetical. But this is the reality right now. This is who has access to these medications, So these people, it's not like they shouldn't be focused on. It's not like we shouldn't be pushing them up. But it's also not like we shouldn't be focusing on this group of people who are already there.
I'm not saying that and stuff. I'm saying it. You have to, but even then, you have to. Those people are gonna get most of the attention, right?
Yeah.
Just naturally because they have access. Right?
Yeah, but you kind of are saying we shouldn't focus on that because whenever I'm bringing up like people are doing this instead of treatment, they're doing prevention instead of treatment. It's what about the average person? What about
Yes,
this
that's
person
what
that
I'm
doesn't
saying.
have
I'm saying
access
you
to it,
have to take into account the average person. And
I know,
stuff.
but that's avoiding the fact that these people are here right now struggling. And
But
sure,
I don't think
they're
it's. I
ahead.
don't think it's avoiding though. I don't know. I think like when you take a look at everybody and stuff, it can only help your treatment process, right?
I don't know. I feel like by the time this group of people is caught up with this group of people, like whatever medicine they're giving out should be the best it can be.
But has
Whatever
that not
wealth
been
and
tuned
knowledge
to?
about it.
Has that not been tuned to just a specific group of people?
Obviously that group of people should expand and expand and expand and expand over time,
Right.
but it has to start somewhere.
Yeah, but how do those people enter that space? How do people enter that space?
by addressing those societal problems.
Well, okay, almost. I agree. Addressing the societal problems, right? But there needs to be like from a professional's perspective, right? They need to help bring other people into that conversation.
Yes, I completely agree. But again, that's going to take lifetimes. And that's a very slow fill, right? So are we just not going to address this problem that's here while it's slowly filling? I feel
Yes,
like
but
we
like
have
you can
to look
address
at
those
what group we have.
You can address those people's problems by looking at other people's problems as well, because
But why not look at their problems that they currently have?
No, but you
Yeah.
like for even like to change the idea surrounding mental health for people, the average like American citizen, right?
Mhm.
And stuff. It's like you have to bring that wealth of knowledge with everybody, right?
Yes, that's how it should be, and it's gonna.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Oh, we went over time.
Oh shit, my
Yeah.
bad.